president at bottom of the 420th inning. So there's a crack in the bat. It's hit. He's running. He's rounding first. He's rounding second, completely ignoring third base. Oh, he's sliding head first into 69th base with Doug Mellard.
What up? Welcome to 69th Base. I'm your host, Doug Mellard. This is the podcast where I hold idiotic sports experts accountable for their dumb takes. Got a fun show for you this week. Got a great guest, Kevin Dean, on the podcast. You guys are going to love him. He and another a comic named Ryan County did the theme song that you guys, I assume, just rock out to at the beginning of this podcast each and every week. On top of that, I have Dr. Thaddeus Newman, a renowned psychologist, to give us his take on Skip Bayless' psyche. We're going to do a deep dive. That's going to be interesting to get an expert's opinion on what insanity is going on there. And we're going to talk about, of course, the NFL playoffs, the San Francisco-Green Bay game, Kansas City versus Tennessee, LeBron James and Skip's continued hatred for him, Skip's weird study habits, Colin Cowherd's obsession with Baker Mayfield, what in the world is going on with Odell Beckham Jr., and Antonio Brown is still crazy. Plus, we'll start a new rumor and much more. But first, I got to tell you, I had talked about this a while back, I believe. But I'm going to repeat the story. I was at a festival one time, and it's called Fun Fest. And I was running around, and I really had a shit because I've been partying too much and just drinking, having fun, and just too much stuff going on in my body. And I thought for sure, I was confident I could make it to a porta potty. I did not. And the next thing I know, a perfect round ball of shit. I can just feel shit coming out, and it's not a good feeling. And then I had to shake the ball out of my pant leg, and it just rolls out onto the ground. And it was one of the most disgusting, shocking things that's ever happened to me. It's just that feeling to know that there's shit, rolling down your leg like a little ball. Not fun. It's not fun. But guys, I would rather do that 3 times a day, every day, and maybe even just have that shit not even be able to escape. Be wearing pants that are tighter to where they can't roll out. Just have that shit in there, and I know it's there, and I can't do anything about it than to have coffee with Skip Bayless. I think that's there's no way I would ever change my mind about that, and I think you guys can all agree. Guys, got a very great guest. I'm going to bring him on now. All right, guys, welcome to the podcast, Kevin Dean.
Hey, Doug.
How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for being on. So I know you. Do you know when we first met? When did we first hang out or anything?
Maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Through Pat?
Through your brother Pat, who's a really funny comic out of Austin.
Big sports fan.
Yeah, big. And you, again, I mentioned it up top, but you and Ryan County did the theme song to 69th Base. I appreciate that. It's pretty great.
Absolutely. It's a fun day.
You are a pretty awesome musician.
Thanks.
And what is you're a sports guy, but what's your team?
Grew up DC, all DC teams.
Really?
Yeah, complicated Virginia, I guess. Relationship with the Redskins now.
Oh yeah.
I consider myself a former fan at this point.
Wow, isn't that a bitch, man? I feel you as a Cowboys fan. It's I'm so close. I brought an Oilers hat over today.
Oh, cool.
And I was just if I don't. I'm sure it's multi-layered for you with the Redskins, but Dan Snyder's a piece of garbage. Jerry Jones, I hate Jerry Jones, yeah. And it gets harder and harder sometimes to root for a team.
You just
and
also don't want to financially support that kind of organization.
Yeah, and I don't think I'll ever give up completely, but I understand when you do kind of say, all right, no more.
Yeah, well, the name is literally racist.
Yeah, that's
to the point where I don't actually wear Redskins apparel in public, which is not a good sign for an organization.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny because, that's a debate that rages on, and, some people, I don't think they understand when they don't think it is racist. I think they really think like, and they put all these studies out that they're saying like, oh, it's not, we interviewed 1,000 Redskins, which is a thing you can't say. And like, they all said it was cool.
And all these studies are funded by Dan Snyder.
Yeah, exactly.
He finances all these like studies and research things.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I asked my cousin's wife, who was 100% Native American, not like somebody that's just like, I'm 80th or whatever. Yeah. And she was like, oh yeah, no, it's the most offensive thing.
It's so offensive.
And I was like, okay, that's 1 for 1 on my end for my survey.
And growing up in DC or Northern Virginia, you just never ever think about it.
Yeah.
You just like something, you just like, oh, that's what they're called.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially like, you just dive in as a kid and you're just like, well, this is the team I like.
Yeah.
That's just that.
And then I moved away, and then I think I like was read less about the Redskins and like less news about them because I didn't live there anymore. And then sometimes you'd hear it and it'd be like, oh, whoa, that's pretty jarring. That's pretty bad.
Did you adapt like a new team or?
The Rams of Los Angeles.
Oh, cool. Yes. This season was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But it is cool. I always like having like a local team. So I was all in on the Rams. I was bummed they had a weird year. Before we jump into the world of horrible sports takes, I've shared something with you. So I walked in. Dr. Thaddeus Newman is in the room as well, waiting. I was sharing with both of you guys that my grandma passed away yesterday, so that's a bummer, Shout out to my grandma and
shout out.
But so it's been a weird 24 hours. I talked to my mom a couple hours ago. I didn't want to I was gonna tell you this. I wanted to tell you this immediately, but my mom called. My grandma had some mental or mentally she was kind of in and out the last few years. She was in her 90s. But my mom said something about, it's for the better. She, her life was not really a life at this point. And she was like, she said something, my mom said something along the lines of I would want to go if I was there. And then I jokingly said, oh, I would have put you down long ago. And she laughed. She's like, oh, thanks, Doug. But then she very abrasively cut me off and was like, yeah, I think smother me with a pillow. And I laughed. But then I realized I don't think she was making a joke anymore.
Serious.
She was it's as if she had thought about it. She was just very calmly like, yeah, smother me with a pillow. And I was like, whoa, what? And it just got...
She's thought about this.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, no, I'm good, Mom. And she laughed. And then, my mom, it's her mother. And so we're all grieving. So your emotions are all over the place. But then I said something about then she went on and she was like, or, just crush up some drugs and put them in some alcohol. And I'll just drink that. Just so casually.
Sure.
Just telling me, hey, murder me. And I don't know, I don't think I could do it. Could you murder your mom? Your mom was just on speaker. She sounds so lovely.
She's very lovely. First of all, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Second of all, my mom is obsessed with death. So I've known about how she wants to die pretty much since I was a kid.
Whoa.
So my mom, if she had her way, she would sit in an extremely cold park on a bench.
Okay.
And feed the birds and the ducks and stuff and just slowly freeze to death.
Whoa.
That is her literal.
Oh my God.
She's told me that when I was 8 years old or something. Yeah, that's her ideal way to go. But she's always been if I'm ever comatose or whatever, in the hospital like that, I want you to pull the plug.
Whoa.
And
yeah.
she told that to me and my brother, and she's dead serious.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess I would have to, right?
Wow. Yeah.
I have to do it. My mom tells me.
Yeah. Or you are grounded, mister. You murder me right now. And I know people that have had to go through that where, you have to
that's super tough.
Do drugs or inject or whatever, administer. It's brutal. And you are sometimes you are legally given that power, but that's such a fucking weird thing. But the idea of it was hard enough with the drugs and booze, but the idea of just choking my mom out with a pillow,
right?
That is murder.
Smothering.
That's more straight murder. It doesn't seem like I'm giving you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not even like a passive like thing. That's like a very active murder.
I want you to beat me with a baseball bat in the face until you can't recognize anything.
Yeah.
What if she
It's
said
really
that?
specific.
I want you to stab me 78 times.
Yeah,
in
that
the
I
neck.
don't think I could do. I definitely couldn't do that.
Oh God, yeah. I hope that's something to definitely go into my act. I think soon is me talking about. I want to talk to her a little bit more. I'm gonna have to ask Flynn. My wife was on the phone with me. My mom was on speaker when that was going down, and I was still in a state of like I haven't really slept and stuff, and so I didn't take in that entire conversation. So there's more to that, and I got to revisit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope it doesn't come to that.
Let's hope.
We'll probably all be like half artificial intelligence soon anyway, so we'll just live on forever. So
Just get a robot to smother your mom.
Yeah. There we go. All right, let's jump into the world of sports. San Francisco and Green Bay. Let's get into that a little bit. Did you watch the games?
I did, yeah. I think I watched the first part at work and then listened to some on the radio. I have a good friend who made like a rather large bet on both games. So like,
how'd he come out?
he lost.
Oh.
Well, he had a parlay, so he lost. He won the first game
God.
and lost the second one, but that basically like made me choose what I was rooting for. So
Right.
got the first game, but not the second.
Yeah, I was going for Green Bay, but assumed they were going to lose. And then, well, let's talk about that for a second. Skip didn't say anything. I didn't get to listen to as much of his thoughts on the game today, simply because of death stuff.
Of course.
I was like, I'm going to put
completely
Skip Bayless.
understandable.
I'm doing the podcast. That's enough. But and it was hard, like, because I tried to a little bit. But
Yeah.
like hearing his voice when I'm sad, I was just like, oh, this is making it so much worse.
Yeah.
But it was not
Don't want to
easy.
subject yourself to
It's
that.
like I already hate this voice. It's already so grating. But I would assume, I'll just make a safe assumption. And going into it last week when they were like predicting the game and stuff, he was suggesting that Aaron Rodgers has to like, if he hates Aaron Rodgers, that's one of his big takes. And he was just saying, like, Aaron Rodgers has to be the hero. And, like, he should be able to beat the Niners, even though they have a much better team.
Much better, yeah.
And he says that Rodgers is on the downhill slope. He definitely is. I think he's in better shape than Brady, possibly. But there's just no way to... That team it's a bulldozer.
Ridiculous.
It's so crazy.
Well, they're, like, good, so good that they're boring kind of good.
Yes.
Where they're just,
that's
like,
what sucks is, like,
dominant on defensive line, offensive line.
Yeah.
And then, like, from there, it's just, like, everything fits in.
Yeah.
But that's just such a boring...
Yeah.
Like, it's great. It's good.
Yeah.
But, like, just visually, it's just, like, a lot of...
Our buddy David Huntsberger is a big Niners fan.
Oh, cool.
I was going to watch the game yesterday with him, but flight got delayed and then grandma died and stuff. But then I like that my grandma dying should just be a casual reference
just
throughout
and
the... It's on my mind. But on top of that... the week before, like both games, I watched that game with them. I was going for the Vikings. It like you said, it's so boring.
Yeah.
Like Garoppolo threw it 8 times, I think.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Do you think he's like... Do you think after the game... Do you think he cared? Do you think he
I
was
don't
like...
think so, because...
Or just happy to win and go to the Super Bowl? You think there's like
I
a small part of him that was just like...
there
being
probably
paid like
is,
$26
but
million.
he also was admittedly pretty nervous. So like, if there's a chance you throw a pick and you blow it, I'd rather safely win it
Yeah.
than fuck it up.
Me too.
So, and Rodgers brought him back a little bit. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, that Tennessee game started out. It was hard to not root for Tennessee because they're the underdog and they've been doing some crazy stuff. But I really like Mahomes. He's
Me
just
too.
so fun to watch.
Yeah, he's so entertaining. And I just feel like they're never out of it.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah. And what did he throw for like 80 touchdowns at the end of last week? They were like getting destroyed. And he's like, no, I've got this. 50 points in like 8 seconds, it felt like.
I mean, they've been down each of their playoff games, and it seems like that's just like how they operate.
And they did it again yesterday. And there wasn't much to be said. I think Skip did pick the Titans, so he did lose out on that one.
Nice.
He claims that Mahomes is overrated, basically, which is also just an outrageous
That's completely
claim.
false. Yeah.
And I mention it all the time, but I think part of that is that it's weird because he loves Tom Brady so much. You'd think he loves Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, so he goes for the safe bets.
Yeah.
Seems like you would say Mahomes is your next guy because once Brady retires, what are you left with? But I think he doesn't like Mahomes because he's so flashy. He just shows off his old manness where he's just he literally has said stuff along the lines of Mahomes and his no-look passes, and it's like, God, you're old. Shut up. You sound stupid.
Yeah. I hate that. It's like,
and why
he's
so
entertaining. Why is that bad?
Yeah, why is that a bad thing to just watch him? He's a magician.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And last week with that weird, I don't even know it was like a basketball pass. He does basketball passes all the time.
He's
it's
great.
Incredible. I don't know why you would be upset about that, but so it was good for Mahomes to stick it to Skip in that regard. I hope that he can. Do you think they have a chance against the Niners?
I think so. I'm definitely rooting for them.
Yeah.
I love Mahomes. I also love Andy Reid.
Yes.
I'm very much rooting for
Have you seen,
that man to win a Super Bowl.
He's got to get one because he got like booed and shit on the way out of Philly.
Yeah.
And it's like.
He's just classic.
There were takes in the sports world this past week. If they were to lose, not go to the Super Bowl, or if they lose in the Super Bowl, Andy Reid should think about firing him. I would love for the Cowboys to have Andy Reid. I would rather be in the mix every year because there's that chance that, and I guess it was brought up too, like looking back, a lot of those teams that Andy had were underachievers. They didn't have this or that,
True.
And they still got there. And didn't that one Super Bowl, he had like T.O. who had like a broken ankle or something.
Yeah, I think he had a broken leg.
Yeah, he's still like.
And he came back.
Yeah, and McNabb threw up at one point, I think.
That's ridiculous.
Like, you're doing something right as a coach if one player's like, nope, I'm playing. I got a broken leg. And another's like throwing up and he's like, nah, I'm staying in.
Yeah, and they were still like a field goal away from winning it.
You got to go for Andy Reid and his big old mustache. Have you seen the punt, pass, and kick thing with Andy Reid?
Oh, when he's like an enormous 13-year-old?
Oh, my God. If you haven't checked it out before, just Google Andy Reid punt pass kick.
It's amazing.
He's 13. He's in this punt pass kick competition. He looks about like the size he is now as a 13-year-old, but the other 13-year-olds look like they're 8 next to him, or like 6 or 4 or something. It's
when he
crazy.
just easily wins his competition.
Yeah, he's like, get out of the way.
Fun fact about Andy Reid: he went to high school just down the street.
From here?
Yeah, he went to school.
Whoa.
I forget what it's called, but it's in Los Feliz.
Whoa.
Marshall High School or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Wow, we should have a rally over there.
Ooh, let's do it. Andy Reid Day.
Yeah. I'm hoping Mahomes takes it to him.
Me too.
The Chiefs defense is lacking, but we'll see. Maybe they can pull it off. I feel like if there's anybody to bet on, it's Mahomes. Plus, I think when Lamar was just killing, like Mahomes was injured, was breaking all the records, was on pace to break everything, then got injured, and then Lamar took off. And then I think there's probably a little chip on his shoulder to be like, hey guys, remember me? I'm also really fucking good.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Well, Lamar was like the new Mahomes.
Yeah.
And Mahomes was like, well, I'm still the actual Mahomes.
It is exciting to see like Lamar versus Mahomes for the next like 15, 20 years. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for that. Let's get into some real ridiculous stuff. Well, one thing, I guess, staying with football, Derrick Henry didn't have as much. Oh, this is one take, I guess, with that game. Skip basically said it was he never gave Mahomes credit. He just said it was Tennessee's game plan. It wasn't Mahomes' good.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. But he was saying like, they should have fed Derrick Henry the ball more, which he had 19 carries. That's still a decent amount.
Yeah.
I think the game before he had 30. So 19, I think it's not like when the Vikings lost the Niners, they had like 8. I think Dalvin Cook, who got them that far, only had like 8 or 9.
Yeah, once you're like around 20, that's like a...
Yeah, I think 8, I was frustrated with the Vikings. Like, why are you going to give it to Kirk Cousins? You only gave it to Dalvin for 8, but then 19 is like, you're giving him a lot of chances, and then it just gets to a point of like, Mahomes is going to take this over. We have to start passing, whether that's good or bad. And
the Titans can't really play from behind.
You can't. And it was a bummer. It was fun rooting for Derek, but one thing that I've noticed about Skip Bayless, he was talking about Derrick Henry, and I feel like he says this once a week. He was like, I've never seen anything. He's been in the sports world for 1,000 years. And he was like, I've never seen anything like Derrick Henry in all my years of covering sports.
That's so funny.
But he'll say that once a week about somebody. And it's just like, it makes you all your points invalid.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, because back in the day, that's how all football teams were, right? It was like, that was only like the last 10 years that they started passing it so
Passing
much.
like crazy. Like and I get it, he's 6'5", but there had to have been Walter Payton or Earl Campbell or somebody you could compare him to. I'm
just looking through his Twitter.
Yeah.
I didn't know how good of friends he was with Lil Wayne.
Well, that's debatable. He sure talks about it a lot.
Yeah, he said, I was texting back and forth with a devastated Lil Wayne. And Wayne agreed with me that in the end, the 49ers were just better than the Packers.
See how he loves to share that he's texting with? He thinks it's so cool.
What do they talk about? I guess sports.
Sports, but my theory is Lil Wayne gave him that necklace that he wears that is jarring when you. I don't watch it much. I'll just get clips from the podcast, they have a podcast or whatever. I'll take snippets and then run with it. And with him, so I don't watch it like that often. So when I see an actual clip, that necklace is just. It's hits you in the face. It's just like, this is so dumb.
Is it like a big obnoxious
It's
necklace?
pretty big, yeah. And it just doesn't look right on a 70-year-old Skip Bayless. Like, it's crazy. But I think so Lil Wayne wrote his theme song, not as good as the song that you guys wrote for me. And, of course. And I just think that he likes to Lil Wayne wrote the song, so he probably got money for that. And then I would assume he's on the show a lot. He's not. I'm not. Lil Wayne is fine, whatever. But he's not a very engaging guest. He's just kind of like, he looks like he's high and he barely talks, and he's just like, his voice is so gruffle, like blown out. You can't really understand much.
There's not a lot of dialogue back and forth.
Yeah. He's just he's clearly partied so much the night before every time, or his whole life, and so I think so I'm sure it's in his contract. He gets paid to be on. So of course he gave him that necklace. It's a smart thing to do, is keep kissing Skip's ass. So it's like, dude, I don't know if maybe they really are friends. Maybe it's
funny.
A very natural relationship.
The cameras are off.
Yeah. They're running, skipping in meadows, but I don't know. And the fact that he loves to show it off, I don't know, it says something. And I guess we can talk to Dr. Thaddeus Newman about that a little bit later, but
I'm sure there's something going on there.
For sure. Skip also, something I noticed this week, some of the best takes aren't the segments. They'll set up a segment and it's like LeBron or Aaron Rodgers, whatever. Some of the best little finds are in passing. And one thing I found in passing this week was Skip said, I guess, did you know about the Jeopardy guy that was going to break a world, like a Jeopardy record or something?
I think I saw that, yeah.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I just knew that was a thing.
Yeah, me too.
But Skip and his wife are big Jeopardy fans, and apparently during one of the Skip shows, Shannon gave away that he didn't, I think, and Skip got really angry, and it was just so funny to me that he's just like, he was just like, you ruined it for me, and he's just on air like mad at Shannon about Jeopardy, and Shannon apologized, but he's laughing, and then Shannon was like, apologized, but also kind of made fun of him. And he's like, why didn't you watch it or whatever last night?
How did Shannon know that and Skip?
Yeah, I think they were going to record all of them, and then they watch them all Friday night because that's the one night a week he gives to his wife. And I'm pretty, because we have talked about this.
So generous of him.
Yeah, in his book, in his wife's book, that they talk about that. And so I think that he got upset, like he blew it for him. And I think it was just because, oh, fuck. I just had a total brain fart. Oh, my God.
Jeopardy?
This will be edited. Jeopardy. Oh, God.
Jeopardy only one night a week.
Oh yeah, so Shannon gave him shit, and he was like, "Well, why didn't you watch it?" And he was like, I was preparing for the show. I was watching sports." And Shannon was like, laughed, and he was like, "What was even on last night?" And you can tell, I don't think they get paid after. I don't think this Fox is at their homes with a little monitor. Are you watching enough sports tonight?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Taking
sure he
notes.
can just show up. They could not. I don't think Stephen A. Smith watches sports off there. I think they just tell him what happened. He's like, "Okay, got it." And then he goes, like, so he just takes all this time away from his wife for no reason.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're a sports person, it's fun to watch sports, but to the detriment of your marriage, like, it's so weird. So
he's one of those guys that's just like, this is my job. Like, I have to go work. And then he's just watching sports for 8 hours.
Yeah, even if it has no bearing on anything, because again, he talks about LeBron James sucks, Aaron Rodgers sucks, Tom Brady is good. Why do you have to watch the Nuggets game then? You know what I mean? Like, and not go have dinner with your wife. Like, who fucking cares?
Does he like Dak?
He does love Dak.
He does love
I
Dak?
do not love Dak.
Ooh.
I think he's fine. Skip holds him as a sacred, amazing. He thinks he is better than Zeke. I think Zeke is hands down a much better running back than Dak as a quarterback, and I think that fucking ruined us this year because several games, kind of like he was talking about with Derrick Henry, we could have just run Zeke and won because anytime we do that, it happens. A guy he does not like, LeBron James. He says it all the time, but he said it again this week. LeBron is stat stuffing. He's just trying to catch up with Kareem and break records, all-time records. And, I finally thought about it.
Yep.
I think he should
What's
do
wrong with
that. Like, why? Is he supposed to just sit out until his team's down and then, like, all right, get back in there?
So he wants to reach the pinnacle of his profession?
Yeah. Like, what are you? He can't win. Like, because if he does that, then I guess it would approach people thinking he's better than Michael Jordan, and that's what he doesn't want.
Oh, because he loves Michael Jordan.
He loves Michael Jordan, but again, you can't go wrong. If you think Michael Jordan is a better player, sure, that you can argue that. If you think LeBron is a better player, I think you can argue that. But why shit on him on this crazy level?
I have a feeling he'd shit on him even if he was like doing the opposite.
Yeah, I think he would make fun of him if he's not doing enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He needs to lay out a case of like, this is how many minutes he should play. He should. What is he supposed to do? Yeah. He's on a basketball team and he's really good.
So is he saying like even when the game's like,
I guess out of hand?
Already, he still is in there. Just I guess,
but also like that. If you are approaching all-time records, you go for it.
Yeah,
that's what any team would do.
Well, I respect what LeBron does because he's trying not to do the load management thing.
Yeah.
Because he's like very respectful of like people buy tickets and they want to see us play.
Which is cool.
Yeah, so I respect that.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of like the same thing.
Because he's kind of giving it to Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi does that. Yeah, give the people their money's worth. Meanwhile, his boy Kawhi, who he hated last year but now loves again, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Meanwhile, are you familiar with Colin Cowherd at all?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about this. Do you know he's obsessed with Baker Mayfield?
Oh yeah, he hates him.
He hates him so much to a level that's out of control. So I guess before the season he had him on, they kind of jabbed at each other, and he just kind of was saying he was immature. But ever since then, he brings them up probably 10 times a show.
Yeah.
Which shows that Colin Cowherd, who is 60-ish, is very immature. Like, I don't.
True.
What are you doing?
He's obsessed. He's immature. Maybe our doctor can.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can talk to Thaddeus about that. Like, you're in your 60s and you're calling a 20-year-old immature, and then you won't let that die down.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true. I heard him on the radio just in passing. I think he gives him a lot of shit about all the commercials that he's in.
Yes.
Where he's like, Lamar Jackson was in no commercials, and look at his season. He spent all the offseason training. But then I was thinking, like, Baker Mayfield probably filmed all these commercials in, like, 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Out of the entire offseason.
Yeah.
Or, like, all of his commercials are probably done in, like, a week.
I'll never understand that. Like, that argument. Skip says that about LeBron and, like, Space Jam or this or that. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan was in every commercial ever.
Yeah.
For 3 decades.
And he
Still
was
is.
drinking and gambling every single night.
Yeah. Shut up. And he was in Space Jam 1. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, I think Space Jam might have been during his baseball hiatus or something.
I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah, because that's how the movie starts, right?
What if he wins? What if LeBron wins? Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
With R. Kelly singing, which
Yeah.
is interesting now. What if he should? Shannon should bring that up.
Oh, true.
Michael Jordan supports R. Kelly, and
Let's tweet at him.
yeah. What if Space Jam 2? What if LeBron wins an Oscar? How great would that be? Like,
Kobe would be so pissed.
yeah. Oh my god.
He'd be so upset.
Oh yeah. So this week in the world of Cowherd bashing Baker, Colin Cowherd said that the real loser. This is right after the championship game.
Uh-huh.
The real loser with Joe Burrows taking off. Joe Burrow. Is it Burrow or Burrows?
I think it's singular.
Singular. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always say Burrows. The real loser in that situation is Baker Mayfield. He brought it all the way back to he's going to get drafted by the Bengals and he's going to be the fourth best quarterback
Same division,
in the division. It's like, I mean, I guess, but why does it have to come back to Baker? It's
Always.
so obnoxious. Just let it go, man. He's a kid and you're not helping anything. And I don't know if the Cleveland market just gives him such a bump. That whole city just hates him
I'm
so
sure
much.
it gives him a whole bunch of traffic and
Probably.
something. It has to.
It's so weird. Just let it go, dude. Just let it go. Meanwhile, are you familiar with what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr.?
Oh, from LSU?
Yeah,
Or from the LSU game?
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I've heard kind of both sides of. Did you see him slap the guy?
I did.
Which
It was a weird video.
it was pretty strange.
He slapped his ass, and then the guy turned around and they just kind of stared at each other for a couple seconds.
Yeah, it was kind of uncomfortable.
It definitely didn't seem like it was a rah-rah.
Yeah.
He wasn't smiling.
No. And somebody broke it down in a way that made me feel really bad for that guy. Because it's this thing, that guy, he shouldn't be charged, but I think the money's a bigger deal just because it's stupid. Because you should know if I give
That's so
kids a
stupid.
bunch of money in this day and age in front of cameras, I should know they're going to be punished.
Yeah, or the school, or that could affect the championship you just won.
Yes, exactly. They could be stripped or whatever. That was stupid. The slap, it's all right, that was obnoxious, but I don't know if he needs to go to jail for it or whatever. But somebody broke it down. That security guard that got his ass slapped, he was in there because Joe Burrow and some other guys were smoking cigars. It's not allowed in that facility. So somebody had to go tell that security guard, hey, man, go tell these people that just won the national championship.
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans, that they can't smoke these cigars in here. And that has to suck. As your job, to hey, guys, I know you're on top of the world right now, but could you please put that out? And then have Odell slap you on the mat. That strips all your authority. That made me kind of all right, Odell. He's a jackass anyway. It made me wonder, and I guess we're kind of weaving into Antonio Brown, but is he just jealous of Antonio Brown going crazy?
Maybe, yeah.
Is this about to be
All
a
the crazy
rivalry?
points.
Yeah, I want to see just them dueling rap videos, and oh man, it's a mess. Antonio,
Yeah, he's kind of bonkers now, huh?
he's just off the deep end. Will Kane, who I do not like. I thought this was weird because I really do think he is a bad guy, but I also think there is mental health and there could be CTE stuff. I think it's all of the above. I don't think it's. But Will Kane said, people were saying somebody needs to get involved and get this guy help, which I think he needs it. He has to want it to get it, but
Yeah.
and I'm sure people are trying, I hope. But Will Kane said he's hesitant to believe that it's mental health because he doesn't like that because that's letting him not be accountable for his actions. He's
It's an excuse.
yeah, he just said, he's what if he's just a really bad guy? I think that's what it is. And it's what he's doing seems like maybe he is a bad guy, but also he is fucking crazy. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
Why is it bad to offer help? I don't understand what that can hurt.
I agree. It's just weird because he used to not be like that.
Yeah.
He was always such a I don't know, seemingly like a humble,
Yeah.
like stick to the field.
Yeah, like you didn't
Player.
hear this until the last like few years. I don't know if that's, I don't know, maybe just like continued success got to his head, or who knows. But hey, I guess we can probably should we bring on the doctor and maybe he can help us out with some of this mental health shit?
Yeah. We have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Is he in the building?
he is. He's sitting right next to me, so it's
there he
weird
is.
that you asked that because he's right there.
Because I can see him.
But let's time out for just a second, then we'll bring on Dr. Thaddeus Newman. All right, guys, very excited about this. Never had this. I've always wanted this, but we have a professional psychologist, Dr. Thaddeus Newman, here to discuss Skip Bayless and his insanity. Welcome. Thank you for being on the podcast, Doctor.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking me. And this is something that I've been very much interested in exploring, and I'm a fan of the podcast.
Oh, wow.
And
Seems like a doctor. It's good to know that because I feel like the number 69 could scare off certain people that are like.
no, that's kind of, yeah. I don't know how my colleagues will take this thing, me being on this podcast, but I actually was on the fence about doing my thesis at school, Harvard, where I graduated with my PhD. I was going to do my thesis on Skip. And I decided not to, and I went with a little more traditional approach. But I've been very interested because he is a classic case of many symptoms. He's somewhat of an anomaly.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes.
You said you went to Harvard, but was there?
I graduated from.
Okay, where did you start out? I guess.
Oxford, not Harvard. I was. I have some history with Harvard, but we can save that for a different podcast. I graduated. I'm 31 years old. Dr. Thaddeus Newman. I graduated with my PhD in psychology from Oxford, and before that, I actually I was in law school at Southwestern University of Law here in California.
Okay.
Spent a lot of my early 20s out here, and it was pretty wild. Law students. It wasn't my scene. It wasn't necessarily my scene, but I did pass the bar, and I decided I wanted to get into the more psychological aspect. So now I'm.
Well, I'm so excited to hear what all you have to. I don't even know where to start. I have put several theories out there on this podcast in relation to Skip Bayless and his psyche, so I'm just glad to hear what you have to say on some of these theories. For one, Skip loves sports, and he played in high school, but he was not good, averaging 1.4 points per game in basketball. Could this, like him not being good, could that be the reason? There's a theory I have that he chose a career to tear down athletes, to criticize them.
It's a very astute observation. It's one of the first things I noticed. This is the classic case. Skip has a rare situation where he has 4 out of the top 5 delusional disorders.
Whoa.
This is also just my theory. It's never been. He's never been to a medical facility to diagnose this. This is all my theory, so
Seems
I
like he
want
would
that to go on
reject
record.
help and say, "I'm not crazy, you are."
But that is most definitely a. If I can't be good at the sport, then I will get into a profession to attack the sport. Jealousy, which is a common psychological delusion.
Yeah.
He's grandiose. He's erotomanic.
What is erotomanic?
Erotomanic is when the person believes that someone or someone's is absolutely obsessed and in love with them.
So in this case, like people who he thinks are his fans?
Often it's somebody important or like a famous person, and it sometimes can lead to a stalking behavior.
Whoa.
Which is interesting because, I would say his fan base, he believes everybody loves him, which is
when it's really
maybe the minority opinion that I think widely loved.
He has a lot of followers, but I think it's all people. If you look at his Twitter and social media, it's 90% of the people are making fun of him. He's not. Yeah.
And that's another delusion where he has the ability to just look over that.
Yeah.
And he is interesting in the sense that it's a different kind of stalk. It's a stalking I've never seen because he is such a public figure, and
Right.
he absolutely is obsessed with LeBron James.
Yeah.
And
but he hates him.
Exactly.
So why he claims to have watched every dribble ever by LeBron James. He won't miss a dribble. He would rather
Classic stalker.
watch someone be what he thinks is bad, which is crazy to begin with,
Funny
than
you
hang
bring
out
up
with his wife.
Funny, excuse me for interrupting.
No.
Funny you bring up dribbling because there's a case when I was going through class that we studied about it was more of the more common types of stalking, watching through the window, and it was interesting because it was a female stalking a male.
Yeah.
And the female said the exact same thing. I've seen every single dribble of his. And she had a pee fetish, and she would watch him pee.
Oh, wow.
Interestingly enough, he also had a prostate problem, so it was not a strong stream, and it was a little dribbles. Just dribbling out. And when she was arrested and in her confession, she mentioned that she is also, almost verbatim, said the same thing that Skip has said. I have seen every single dribble.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like bing, bang, boom. Sorry, that's lawyer talk. Bing, bang, boom. He's got the same case.
So, Doctor, one thing you could argue that broke Skip's career is that he wrote a book in the 90s that claimed that Troy Aikman was gay, and he really had nothing to back that up. Troy still hates him for this, and Skip loves Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys. So why if you love this guy's a hero and you love his team, why would you just pull out such a crazy claim? It makes no sense.
This is another one of the top persecutory is another one of the top 5 delusional mental disorders.
Whoa.
And this is a perfect case of that.
Wow.
He sees these things and that he is jealous about.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 2. And he would like to take that down a notch. So he, persecutes them.
Wow.
And I also believe there is a little bit of jealousy in there and love, a little bit of that stalker situation. I believe Skip is also maybe he might have a little body dysmorphia mixed in there.
Is that are you saying that because of his posts where he's
exactly,
shirtless?
Exactly.
Yeah. He's 68 and he...
Doug, you should take some psychology classes. You seem to have the eye. You seem to have the observations.
Oh, thank you. I think it's just Skip is pretty transparent. I really think that's what part of it is.
That is it? Okay.
He seems pretty one-dimensional.
See, and that's what's so interesting to me is that how transparent he really is, and nobody seems to really call it out. So that's why I was attracted to your podcast. And the 69, I get it. And he did the talking about poop right out of the gates. So I'm gonna at my next cigar and whiskey meeting with my colleagues, I'm probably gonna get razzed. I'm probably gonna get razzed and ribbed a little bit because most of my colleagues are writing articles for New York Times, and I'm hearing about balled up poop.
Well, yeah. Thanks for taking that risk for the sake of the podcast. I appreciate that. Do you think with all this craziness of him posting, him shirtless and showing off his cars and making his wife film him throw a jersey away as a grown 60-year-old man?
His wife. That's interesting you bring up his wife.
Yeah.
That is a classic wink if you're with your captor situation.
Oh, wow.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe it is not a happy marriage.
Yeah.
Him taking those photos and doing that is he's trying to get physical and slightly sexual validation through all those selfies in his car posts, which is what teenagers do.
Yeah.
Usually virgin teenagers do this.
Right.
And it's because the love life isn't going well. I believe Skip is a very loyal husband. But I also believe he might not have sexually climaxed in the last maybe 17 years.
Wow.
That's a guess. And that's the 17 years, give or take.
Wow. I should have saved that for the rumor portion of the show, but But I guess it's not really rumor. You're a legitimate doctor, so in your field, so that's just probably
not well respected. But
Yeah.
I am a legitimate doctor, and I just want to go on record saying I'm aware that I'm not well respected. A little controversial.
okay. You can speak to that or not. We can move on. We were talking about his wife. He promoted that his wife has a book. It's a long title in which he kind of,
I believe it starts with balls.
yeah, it starts with balls. And basically is like how to survive your marriage when married to like a crazy sports guy or something.
Yeah, I would. I'm.
But in promoting that, he told everybody like, hey, she's on Instagram now. You should follow her. And then he doesn't follow her. He doesn't, because it's hip to like have a minimal amount of people you follow. Why do you think he? Is that right back linked to what you were just talking about?
That is a grandiose complex, and which is number 3 on the top 5. It's a delusion. I believe that is perfect visual representation that he thinks he is superior. He doesn't need to follow anybody.
Yeah.
Some of us after a couple whiskeys call it the Jesus delusion, because Jesus exclusively had followers and didn't follow anybody.
Wow.
And he had severe. So he was also always shirtless. Any image of Jesus is shirtless.
Oh, right.
So
wow.
I believe this is like it's more common than we think, and he just maybe the United States just rewards that kind of behavior career-wise a little bit more. I also believe that Skip. I don't believe that's his real name.
Wow. Yeah. I mean that is. I did know a guy named Skipper in middle school.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't hear that often.
Outside
I never really thought about that. That doesn't. Wait, Kevin, you can. I'm worried. Kevin's been sitting this out, but I'm worried he just didn't know if he was supposed to be on this segment. But Kevin, have you heard? Like, you don't hear Skip very much. You don't hear that.
No, I don't. Hi again, by the way.
Kevin's here. Is that why you were sitting out? Did you just not know? Like,
I've just been mesmerized by this doctor.
Yeah,
He's a fascinating. He's a
He knows so
fascinating
much.
character. I believe he shows so many delusional tendencies every time he films.
So
every time he's on the air.
His real name is John.
Really, John Bayless.
John Bayless II.
Can't believe it took 28 episodes to get to that. Thanks, Kevin, for the heavy research. Never thought to look up his real name.
Yeah.
You guessed it.
I mean, I honestly never thought. I'm gonna get reamed for this one too. I never thought to just wiki it.
Yeah.
But in school at Oxford.
So his father had called his mother Skip, as in skipper of the ship.
His father
then
called his mother Skip.
For some reason, they just started calling him that, like immediately.
Oh,
like he was never called John his entire
So
life.
Oedipus.
He's
comes
never been
into
called
mind
John.
now. An Oedipus delusion, where he is sexually attracted to his mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
AKA himself, Skip. If his mother's name was Skip and his name was Skip.
And his brother's name is Rick.
This is just getting deeper and deeper. We might not need a rumor this week. This is
I would go out on a limb here and say that his wife looks just like his mother.
his wife. Oh yeah, I bet you're right.
I can check. I have a computer
Sure,
right here.
you should do it. His wife also looks a lot like him. A lot of people have pointed out. That probably goes back to your egomania stuff.
Somewhat, yeah. It's like when people buy dogs that look like them. It's a narcissist situation. But at the same time, there is a positive to that side where it's somebody comfortable or confident enough to love themselves is okay with loving somebody that looks like them.
Wow.
So there's some positives to that.
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna find Skip's parents.
Yeah, I don't see any pictures of his
Probably.
mom.
Yeah. I don't think he had a relationship with his dad, at least.
Well, I guess, and I know this is because this is kind of a comedy thing. I guess we can skip over this subject.
Oh,
Doctor.
You old dog.
I don't know.
It looks like he's had his.
I'm having fun.
His wife on the show before.
Yeah, she's been on a few times to plug that
The balls book.
60-page book that is just a cry for help. So Tom Brady, he's a big fan of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is 42, almost 43, I think. He refuses to believe that he is not he refuses to think that he's in any kind of decline when it's very natural to be in a decline.
Statistically speaking, most athletes, professional athletes, peak at the age of 21 and 22.
Wow, really?
100%.
I never heard that before.
Yeah.
It's a statistic. And I like to read. Sometimes I just Google statistics. It might be a doctor thing. And 21. So how old is Tom Brady? 43?
42, 43,
42.
yeah.
So it is very you got me off. It's very impressive that he is still performing at the quality he's performing at.
Yeah, but Skip refusing to believe, is that because Skip's old and refuses to believe that he himself is old?
Delusions.
Yeah.
100%. Goes back to the selfies, goes back to taking pictures of the car.
And the name Drip Bayless he goes by now that he brags
yes,
about?
so this has been an interesting thing in, what has it been, just the last year or so, where Lil Wayne, and I heard y'all talking about him, Lil Wayne, Little or Lil?
Lil.
Yeah.
So Mr. Lil Wayne.
Sorry, vodka. Very deep vodka burn. I didn't put any ice in this. And
it's interesting that you, and this is just my psychologist coming out.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you're holding the microphone and you didn't just turn your head or move your arm away. See, that's something we can talk about later. We can talk about that later.
Oh, man, yeah.
But it's almost as if you wanted to do it onto the mic.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
You just can't help yourself.
I have to have attention all the time.
Your psychology, you just.
Yeah.
The Lil Wayne and Skip Bayless friendship, I believe is authentic.
Okay.
Mr. Lil Wayne is another crazy case.
Right.
But that is not like any chemical imbalance or any. Well, I guess the chemical imbalance was all the syrup he drank back in the day, and now he's almost as concussed as a football player.
Wow.
Just through doing the drugs that he did.
He's had a lot of seizures.
He's had a lot of seizures,
Oh.
and I believe that's drug related, and I think they're on the same page.
Okay.
Skip and
Wow.
Mr. Lil Wayne.
That's
They have
fascinating.
more in common than we initially thought.
Holy cow.
But I believe they are not aware of that
Yeah.
overlapping connection.
Wow.
I believe,
This is fascinating. We're learning so much, and it's been a real honor to dive in with you. Before I let you go, I do have a segment of the podcast every week where we start a new rumor. I know that could be. I don't want you to get in trouble, doctor, in your field. But if you would like to, I mean, you threw a lot of stuff that's not rumor.
And this
it's
is interesting.
projection, but not rumor.
You bring this up while we're talking about his friendship with Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. I'm a doctor and a lawyer. So you're gonna maybe be surprised. I like listening to hip hop music, hip hop, rap. Sometimes pop, hip hop, like the Drakes of the world. And Lil Wayne, there was a rumor years and years and years ago about Lil Wayne and Birdman being in a relationship, which is obviously normal and fine. And there's multiple pictures of them kissing on the lips.
They kiss on the mouth.
And they were just very in denial about it.
Wow.
And so I believe Skip might be Lil Wayne's new Birdman. And I believe they are actually, because of and this is just my theory. Again, I'm going to go on record. This is just a theory that I have come up with, and I've lost a lot of relationships going down this rabbit hole trying to prove it. But Skip Bayless and Lil Wayne might be in a relationship because of the marriage isn't going well.
Wow. Heard it here first.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a little. I mean, when was the last time you gave a friend a necklace? You know what I mean? That is some relationship.
True.
Yeah.
That's a relationship gift. And I just would really wish that they would, because I want if Skip is listening to this and if Mr. Lil Wayne is listening to this, I would really like them to know that it is a normal thing. I understand you have PR reasons why you wouldn't be open about it and why you wouldn't do this, but it is a normal and a healthy thing. And this comes full circle with the Drip Bayless.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Back to the watching LeBron.
Oh, yeah, the dribble. Yeah.
Drip, dribble.
Uh-huh.
Wow. My mind's blown.
I know, man. This is
I think Skip Bayless watches Lil Wayne P.
Oh, okay. It's
another rumor.
Man, it's crazy how deep you can go. Do you have anything you want to throw into the ring, Kevin? It's hard to top that, but
that's hard to top. I mean, I'd only think
you don't have to throw anything out, but you can't. If you have something off the top of your head, go for it. If not,
I'm just thinking maybe Baby and Mrs. Bayless should get together.
Interesting.
Whoa, yeah.
Full circle.
Kind of a quadruplet.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Baby deserves love.
Wow. Yeah, and I was just going to I heard this. Skip Bayless has a birthmark that looks like a nude Danny DeVito on his penis. But you have to get he has a micro penis, so you have to get really.
I've
really
heard the
close
same.
there.
I've heard the same
very
rumor,
close.
and the version I've heard is it's just the shape of his micro.
Oh, wow.
So it's not even, which also having a micro is a normal, and it's a normal thing.
Sure.
And you live a healthy sexual life.
Yeah.
You can live a healthy sexual life if that it might be tougher if it is shaped like a nude Danny DeVito.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, Doctor, thank you for coming on. Dr. Thaddeus Newman, I really appreciate it. Is there anything you guys want to plug, Kevin? Or
I'm
Thaddeus?
actually coming out with a book later this year. It is, and this is it's kind of a surprise to you. It is a kind of a call and response to her book Balls, and it's called Balls in Your Court, Girl.
Wow.
Get out of that marriage. Loose tie. We're working on a title.
Okay.
I've got a team of
That rolls off the tongue much better than hers, honestly. Wow. We'll look forward to that.
Definitely.
Kevin,
Balls in Your Court. Wink if you're with your captor. Is that it?
Wow. That's it.
Should
I
that
like
be it,
that.
maybe?
Yeah, I like that. Kevin, what's anything you want to plug, or just throw your social media out there?
Sure. Yeah. At Kevin Michael Dean on Instagram. Same thing on SoundCloud.
Nice.
I'll be coming out with some new tunes the next couple months.
Yeah,
all
listen to
Skip
Kevin's.
Bayless related.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And thanks again for you. And it's weird, Thaddeus, but you sound like this comedian buddy of ours, Ryan County. Who
You
did
look
the
like him,
theme
too.
song. You look a lot like him,
Huh?
and you sound a lot like him. He's our buddy that did the theme song with Kevin. So it's just
I saw
fascinating.
an image.
Yeah.
The hunk one. The
oh
good-looking
yeah,
one?
yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of psychosis going on in his eyes. A lot of something. I'd like to pick his brain.
We'll save that for another
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Thaddeus on County.
Just right off the gate, he looks like somebody with a huge hog.
Wow. God, you can just figure out so much with
It's
just
all in
an
the
image.
eyes.
So
You
smart.
just got to look in the eyes.
And I'll be in Sacramento at the Punchline this weekend, 23rd through the 25th. And I'll throw it there too. On the 26th, our pal David Huntsberger is filming his special at Dynasty Typewriter here in LA. So check that out, everybody. Can't talk. Thanks again to Kevin. Thank you for being on. And Thaddeus, thanks guys. Really appreciate it.
Peace.
Appreciate
And,
you. And am I getting a check or in the mail or?
How are
hey,
we being paid?
you know what? Tune in next week, guys. I gotta address something that's gonna get weird.
Base with Doug Millard was recorded in front of a live studio audience presented by Hormel Chili Radio Productions.